Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Max on Color. I'm very happy that you're joining me today. And I hope all of you are doing great today. And I'm ready for learning some tips and tricks on spicing up your color grading using Universe tools. And hey, Trung, I hope I pronounce your name right. And Rohan and Noveen, thank you so much for joining us today. And let me just talk a little bit about our topic today. And normally, as colorists, you probably like to focus on just doing color grading, right? I personally love just to focus on doing color grading. But sometimes when you have client and you normally, when you have different projects, sometimes have like different challenges. And sometimes a client could have like a project with a VFX that is not finished, and maybe a graphic that is not finished. And also, as a colorist, we are doing a lot of like conforming in conforming. Sometimes the transitions is broken, the effects is broken, and is it like, okay, the best solution, the perfect solution is sometimes to send it back to the editor and asking them, hey, could you just like tweak the transitions, could you tweak the effects and send it back to me? But those things sometimes like very time consuming. But what if you can just do it like by yourself? I mean, and that's the agenda for today. Let's learn a little bit of like a non-color grading technique that you can still use in your color grading context. So for example, one that I can like really think is that, maybe if we want to create some iterations of the grades, adding some effects to our look, we can do that with a universe, because in universe there are plenty of effects that you can use. And also the other thing is that maybe we can add some transitions, like broken transitions, replace it with our own custom transitions. We can also do that, and we'll take a look at that. And last but not least, the agenda for today, probably let's see how we can do a little bit of motion graphics and designing a title sequence for our projects. And all of them will be like, will vary. We'll first going to look universe in the color page, and then after that we also going to look at universe tools just in the edit page. And last but not least, let's see how universe behave, how we can incorporate universe in a fun way in fusions. So I think we'll mainly going to see those three pages. But if you are not familiar with any of those page, I mean, don't worry about that. We're going to keep it simple, and we'll take it slowly and move it from there, right? And Greg, thank you so much for joining. Umesh, Tremur, Blake, Sameh, thank you so much for joining, guys. All right, let me share my screen. And that's supposed to be this screen here. All right. You're probably wondering what is universe, right? And let me just play the video and mute it. So universe is a collection of plugins, right? So if you go to maxon.net/redgiant/universe, you'll be able to see like these tools called universe. It is a collection of tools that you can use for your motion graphics, your transitions, adding some effects, and so on. And you can even like just drag and drop like pre-animated text, and that's like feels like almost like cheating. And there are plenty of use cases that you can use with universe, and we're going to dive into all the single effects. I mean, not all, but most of these effects in universe, because it seems to be like impossible to to talk universe in one sitting, because the tools itself, it's like over 100 tools, consists of like generators and effects. Like, for example, if you just want to make a sketch, or you want to add like this chromatic aberrations pre-animated, and then if you want to add some box bokeh, or if you want to create a hologram. So I think the best overview, if you want to check what are universe effects, what is universe, simply go to the website and then go on to like this every single tools and just hover over it, and you'll be able to see that, okay, with multitone, I bypass all the color and then I apply some like color scheme onto that. So that's universe. And there are 5 different categories: generators, effects, text, transitions, and the utilities. All right, before we move on, and let me just do a little bit of housekeeping. So guys, if you are new to this webinar, if you haven't get your t-shirt, please get one. And if you want to get the t-shirt, you can follow the link that is going to be pasted in the chat. By the way, I'm accompanied by Kyle today, and Kyle is in the background and producing the show. Thank you so much, Kyle. And just follow this link today if you want to get this t-shirt. And the passcode for today is Maxon Simulations. So after you pasting that link into the chat, you'll be asked the code, and just enter Maxon Simulation, all capital, and you probably you'll be able to enter the shop and get one of this t-shirt for free. And you just need to pay for a small shipping cost, by the way, but the t-shirt is for free. All right, let me just disable the text. You're probably wondering, right, why the passcode is Maxon Simulations. That is, if you go to maxon.net/events, you'll be able to see that next week, starting from Monday, we'll have a new series of demystifying post-productions, and they will be focusing on simulations in Cinema 4D and also in Cinema 4D. So if you are interested to learn more about simulations and Cinema 4D, make sure that you sign up for that. It will be on every Monday. Okay, and you're probably wondering if these webinars are recorded or not, right? Because sometimes you just want to go over it and rewatch it. Yes, they are recorded, and to watch the recording, you can go to YouTube and type in Maxon Training Team, and there you'll be able to see all the recorded webinars. And what's nice is that all these recorded webinars will be time coded by my colleague, Dr. Sassi. Thank you so much for putting the time code. And following the time code, you can just like skip to the topic that you really like, and you can just skip like the part where I'm blabbering too much, right? And yeah, all right. So now let's go back to Resolve, and let's do our first, how do you call it, universe walkthrough. Okay, let me just move my camera a little bit, maybe make it smaller, something like that. And by the way, just let me know in the chat if my camera is blocking, but I don't think, I think this is a nice location to put the camera. Okay, so the first scenario to use universe, right? Sometimes it's just to like when you have a look locked in and you want to add some twist on it, maybe make it a little bit more snappy, or make it a little bit more like video, or maybe put a frame on it. I mean, if you are like watching a lot of like music video recently, there are plenty of effect. Thank you, Rohan. Camera is good. Camera is good. Perfect. So if you're watching a lot of music video, you probably see like a lot of like this effects where, you know, there's like some film emulation going on, and then after that it is like the footage is like degraded and looks like very old VHS tape, and then after that maybe you want to add like a film frame onto it, and that's probably the effect that I'm going to show you today, right? So and that can be done like really easy. I mean, first I'll just show you the setup, and we'll redo it. Okay, so what I did here, I have a clip that is coming from Red. So it's a R3D clip. So what I did here is just like I transform my Red clip into ACEScct because I just want to work inside ACES. So in my node number 1, I go from Red White Gamut Log 3G10 as an input transform and move it to ACEScct. And at the end, I put the another same plugin called ACES Transform, and I set up the input from ACEScct to Rec 709 and gamut compressions with the gamut reference gamut compressions, of course. So what these two nodes is actually doing, it is just normalizing our image, right? So it is giving you a nice amount of contrast, nice amount of saturations. But on top of that, you probably want to add the look, right, to your project. So what I did here is just I'm using Magic Bullet looks, using one of the presets. And after that, I just balance it a little bit because at the moment it looks like, everything is blown up. I just balance it a little bit just by reducing the contrast. Sorry, my English is like jumping out of the window today. So I'm just reducing the contrast to cater the look, to make it like work, nicely with the look. And this is like my color grading like happening. It's just like the two note. And then after that, I just want to add like this video type of look. And that can be done with Universe. And that is just by using the Universe VHS. And after that, if you want to, you can add like film frame. Like for example, if it's like a project that is going like a very old type of film look, you can always add film frame and then create some light leak. And that is very easy to do. And I'll show you how we can do that in color page. Okay, so let me just move to the empty versions of the clip. So what I did here, I use ACES Transform to like transform my clip. So let me transform it real quick. Red, white gamut, red look 3G10 into ACEScct, right? And from here, transform it again from ACEScct to my display output. And my display output, the display that I'm using at the moment is capable of showing me a nice amount of coverage of Rec 709. So in both of them, I'll use reference gamut compressions. And from there, what I want to do is that now just create my look, all right? And then to do that, I can use like all of the other tools inside Resolve. Of course, you can also do that. But if you have Magic Bullet looks, you can just use the preset that is available inside Magic Bullet looks. So I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to use Magic Bullet looks, press Edit Looks, and it will launch looks. At the moment, it looks like why my image is suddenly like lackluster, no contrast, no saturations. But that's just because, guys, whenever you are using Magic Bullet looks, pay attention to the input and output, right? At the moment, it is saying that my input is sRGB and I'm outputting the sRGB. That's not true, because before that, we have node number 1 and node number 3 that is transforming our images into ACEScct, right? So what we want to do is that under mode, let's select Open Color IO, and as input, let's select ACEScct, and then let's just press same as input as the output, right? And then the preview, because we want to output it to Rec 709, we want to preview it in Rec 709. So that is it, right? So it looks quite okay. I think exactly how we have in our Resolve viewer. So now we want to create a look. And as I promised you before, I'm just going to use a preset. I'm not going to create it from scratch. Let's just use a preset. And let me fix my chair. And we'll tweak that presets to make it our own looks, right? So perhaps we can use one of this. All right. This is it. Sometimes when you're using presets, sometimes the effect can look a little bit too harsh. It can look a little bit too, much. But that's the thing. If you're using presets, don't just use preset by itself. Some presets may work like that. But I think if you want to, you can always tweak every single tools inside the presets. So perhaps let's use this one. And here, I quite like the overall that like this green wash on my image, and this is like actually just a looks that is based on a film emulations. So what I did here, I just changed I just add the amount of light into the image by using the diffusions. I'm softening the quality of light, by the way. I'm not adding, I'm softening the quality, changing the quality of lights. So I'm using optical diffusions twice. And the first one is just to like add, how do you call it? Like this atmospheric look. And the second one is just to glow up the highlights, the super bright highlights into like red glow. But apparently it is not having anything, no effects. But that just because we don't have like a super bright highlights. And after that, I have like this color blend to change the temperature. It's just like adding like a warm filter on top of your lens. And then I emulate the process of like shooting the clip with a film negative, and then after that print it into a film print. So that's like the idea of this preset. So you have it seems like it is similar like going out and shoot with a camera with a lot of like diffusion filter onto it, and then you use a film negative, and then after that you print it onto a film print. And in between, I also add renoiser. And this presets also have renoiser. And here, probably, if you like, you can just leave it as it is. Or if you want to, you can always like reduce the grain slightly or use different presets. So for example, let's just use like this modern 35. And as you can see, the grain is less. This is before and this is after, right? I think before, how do you call it? Yeah, it's even more. So I think I quite like it, and I'll just press OK. Right? So this is before and after my look. So what I want to do next is that let me just create a note before my look. And the shortcut for that is you can select note number 2 and press Shift and S. You'll create a serial note before the note that you select. And here, I want to use my Colorspace aware tools, and that is like HDR wheel. And if you are setting color management into your project settings, like here, I don't have a project management set up into my project settings because at the moment it's just DaVinci YRGB. So if you have project management like ACES or Resolve Color Management, you can leave the high dynamic range tools as it is. But if you are using color management per node, you know that we are working in ACEScct, you probably want to manage your HDR wheel individually. So here, I want to use my HDR wheel in note number 2. If you click like this 3 dots here, you can see that at the moment, the Colorspace is using timeline. And the timeline is not set up for ACEScct, so I have to change it manually. I'll change it. So Colorspace, ACEScct, gamma, Colorspace ACAP1. AP1 stands for ACES Primary 1. And ACEScct is the tone curve for that, okay? So now if I'm changing anything here, it will be photometrically accurate. So what I want to do is that just reduce a little slight contrast reductions, right? And, oh, not too much, Max. Sorry, wrong button. Contrast reductions, and then play around with the pivot. Okay, maybe something like that. Maybe even more. Right, that's okay. Now, if we want to tweak a little bit and add like this video-y look, we can create another node. And to create a node after the node that you're selecting, you can press Alt and S. And then here, we can just type in VHS, not VFX. So you have like Universe VHS, and just drag and drop it there. At the moment, it's like, whoa, Max, it looks so much. It's like too much. Maybe we can just like tweak it a little bit. Okay. What we want to do perhaps is that maybe we don't want the tape damage, right? Maybe we don't want the tape damage, but just by itself, it is already giving me like this nice looking warm tint on my image. But I see that there's a offset happening on my image. So I can just reduce the offset and make it all 0. Something like this. So there's no offset. And perhaps there's no blur. I don't want any blur. Okay. There you go. And now, if we play, we can also add jitter if we want to, but I don't think I want to. And noise, perhaps, because I already creating noise with my looks. Maybe I don't need to use noise here. And then after that, you can play around if you want a wrinkle distortions to your image. But in my opinion, that's going to be like a little bit much. So let's just reduce it. Let's not use it. So I'll just use it as it is. Okay. So that's the change that I did with a VHS, just like that. And if you want to, you can play around with the color controls over here. But to my liking at the moment, it seems like it works with the looks that I'm creating. What I want to do is that perhaps I can play around with the blend slider. So if I blend it with original to 100, I don't have the video effect, right? I don't have like this VHS effect. But if I'm blending it to 0, it means like it's all on the video effects. And if I want to split the difference, maybe something like that in the middle. So you can like really see that just the image without anything, just a normalized image, it looks like that. And then after that, with the look and with the corrections under it, it looks like this. And I'll add VHS on top of that. And voila. And one more thing is that perhaps we want to go a little bit further. And perhaps let's see if we go further and use another effects in VHS in Universe. And the one that I want to show you is called Carousel, right? So we can use Carousel right at the end. And if you see, by default, it is giving you like this nice frame and then very like strong look on top of it. So if I disable everything, just the carousel, it looks like that, okay? And let me enable this. What I want to do is that change the frame style. Here, I have different options if I want to make it square or if I want to make it square and soft. But in my target, in my head, I want to have like this 16:9 frame. And here, I can change if I want to have like a vignette, perhaps just add a vignette just slightly, you know? And now we have like this color control. I don't want to use the color control because I already created like the looks before. And I don't want to use the color control. So we can just put it to 0. Or perhaps something like that. Just very teeny tiny amount of color control. And perhaps we can tweak around with the light leaks. At the moment, we have like this double edges light leaks. And if we don't want any light leaks, we can just disable it, okay? And without color process and without, light leak, it looks like this. So perhaps the problem before is the amount of the light leaks, the intensity of the light leaks. So we can just play around with the light leaks amount, the opacity, just slightly. And maybe instead of like using double edges, maybe we can just want to have like this edge large or raise looking good. So maybe tweak the opacity around 25, a little bit too much, maybe around 15, something like that. And as you can see, very quick, I got like this result. But what I want to point out here is that if you want to create like this type of look, perhaps try with your film emulations first, right? Because in my opinion, if you just go straight away to the VHS or carousel, it won't give you like the look that you want for, right? This is just carousel, but look at this, carousel with the film emulations going on, looking good, and with a corrections under it, of course, to tweak the contrast. And if you combine it with VHS on top of that, you got like this effect, right? So all win. So that is like a small context where you can like use Universe to tweak your grade inside the color page. Now, let me take a sip. Now, the next tips that I want to show you is that how to create to spice up some transitions and create effects to your editing timeline, right? So now let's go into like the edit page, and let me go to the timeline that I already prepared. Where is it? Okay, this. Because why suddenly I'm talking about making transitions on the color grading topic? Because sometimes when you're like conforming, transitions could be broken, speed ramp could be broken, and FX could be broken. So I think having some like tricks under your sleeve to do like this all transitions and effects to your editing timeline, that might be really helpful for you, especially if we're just working like within a small team or even just by yourself, right? Okay. So what I want to show here, as you can see, like the first clip, it is like this women standing on the top of the mountain, and then suddenly another subject walking into the desert, and then another subject walking into the city. So just imagine if we want to give an effect like, oh, okay, we're moving from the mountain, and fast forward, we're moving in onto the desert, and then fast forward, now we're moving onto the city, and then bam, finally the end title. So just to give you a preview, probably I already have like the effects that I want to show you, but the preview probably like something that look like this. So we're moving from Dolomites to Dubai, and then in the end we move to Manhattan, and if you wait, there will be a title sequence in the end, just very simple, called Travel Light, something like this. And and we can create that just using Universe, and quite easy, to be honest. First, what we want to do is that perhaps we can just like either swish pan this transitions from like the first video to the second one, and then we can use that the swish pan transitions. So if you go to Resolve, Open Effects, and Transitions, you'll see like Universe transitions, and there are plenty of it, like plenty. Look, what I want to. Oh, by the way, another tip in this like three dots. If you select Hover Scrub Preview, and then you hover over this transitions, you'll be able to see like what it is actually doing to your video, to your cut. So there are plenty of transitions. So by itself, it looks okay. It looks nice. But what I want to show you is that, just don't use this just by itself, right? You can always mix and match things and create with a very amazing result. So let's do that. Let's use the swish pan, and perhaps making it a little bit longer. Here it's around 110, and another swish pan effects, and moving it around something like that. Retime it, and the first one, same time, same duration. I mean, okay. So now if we hover over, okay, it's stretched to the right, and another stretch to the right. Okay, switch pan to the right. We don't want that. We want to pan to the left. So if you select the transitions, and you see in the inspector, there are some very easy control that you probably already guess what it is. So let's change direction to the left, and everything to the left. Okay, so now it is like moving to the left, and another one to the left, another one to the left. All right, that's cool. So now what we can do is that we can just add text on top of everything, right? So we want to add text like previously. It says Dolomite. So we can just use like the very basic text, the normal text, not the text plus in this one, and just like resize it, to the length of the transitions. And in this case, I just want to write Dolomites, and then perhaps play around with the font that you like. I don't know. This selecting a font can, like, I normally get lost on it, you know. I can spend days looking for font. That's just so cool. Right. So we have like this font happening here. Dolomites. Maybe change the size, perhaps around 300. Looking good. And we can just add a simple animations of the text so that the text move from right to left. So to do that, let's just move to the very first frame, and then change the position outside of the right frame. And now let's move to the back. And here we just want to move the position X of the text. Uh-oh. Why? Right, let's do it again. Move it somewhere over there. Okay. To the end. And now we can change the position back. Oh man, did I not add the keyframe before? Okay. So now, oh, I think I had the keyframe for this one. Or was it the text? Let me just reset this. Okay, let's try it again. Somewhere there and here. Okay, now it should work. Cool. So something like that. So now if we just scrub it, you see the text is moving along with the pen. So instead of having like text looking like this, we can also like enrich our text, you know, making it looking a little bit better. So we can add body to the text, and to do that, we can use one effects inside Universe that is really good for adding like character to the text, adding body, thickness, and glassiness to the text is Luster. So we can search for Luster and drag and drop it to your text. But first, I almost forgot, before you add any text to any effects to the text, please make sure you make it as a compound clip. You can rename it, okay? And then now we can add Luster. All right, so now just by drag and dropping Luster, you have like this effect instantly. What I want to do is that maybe we can just tweak the effects a little bit, and you can play around with a lot of like controls over here, right? There's a bevel controls if you want to make it a little bit more glassy, looks like that. But always the best thing to play around with Universe is visit the presets store, not store, how do you call it, library, because you don't have to purchase this presets. It's coming like how do you call it, natively when you already have Maxon 1 or Red Giant Complete. So in this case, you can pick any of these presets, perhaps like this red text over there, or if you want to, something like that, looking retro. But I already have presets that I create, and that is like this glossy text. And if you, by the way, if you want to save your own preset, it's very simple. Once you finish with tweaking all this control, you can select Save Presets and then rename it, put the category that you want to save, and then it will appear in the presets browser, right? So the first one, I think we've done it, something like that. And then now we got into our clip, and bam, just like that. And you can repeat exactly the same technique onto like the second transitions and the third transitions. Let me open the transitions, the timeline that is already finished, so we can just break down onto that. So the first one, exactly like the tips, the tricks, the techniques that I already show you, but as you can see here, we have like a blurring effects, and then we have some kind of like bokeh happening, and that is just by using Universe-Box Bokeh. So in this case, I have blur amount of 50 in this frame, and then at this frame, I change the blur amount to 0. So it is moving like just like that. So it's blurring my footage, and then after that, it's coming to focus, and then we're moving from Dolomites to Dubai. And here, since we're in the desert, I want to sell the effects that, you know, in the desert it is hot, and you normally see like this mirage effects happening. And you can also do that using Heatwave. So if you type in Heatwave, you have like this universe Heatwave. You can just drag and drop it. And in this case, I just use default. So it's just by default, or you can use the presets. Like there are 5 different presets here. And just by default, it looks already good. So I don't want to tweak that. And then we have exactly the same text with the same swish pan. And then now we're moving to Manhattan. And here in Manhattan, I've added a little bit of overlight. So what overlight does is it is actually adding light leak to your footage. So if I just add it, so that's the default presets. It looks like this. What I did, I think I just like animated. Yeah, I just animate the opacity. In this case, the opacity is 60. And in this frame, the opacity goes to 10, something like that. And at the end, it is just Universe-Typographic. And Universe-Typographic is very easy to use. So if you go to Effects panel, just type in Typographic, you'll see that, you know, you can just drag the effects right away, something like that. And change the blending mode, of course. And in this case, I want to change it to screen, perhaps. Or let me just show you this one because it's already done. I think what I did here is that I'm just using a presets called brush title here. So what I did is just I'm using this presets brush title and change nothing except the text, because the default text it's called lorem ipsum, you know, those type of default text. What I did is that click edit text, and here I just change it into travel, and the second line is light. And here you can also change the type of font, the size, and everything. And once you click OK, you got the effect right away. And bear in mind that these effects come pre-animated. So you kind of like, okay, I already have the animations, don't have to worry about that. It feels like, almost feels like cheating. Right. That's the how do you call it, the some of the transitions that you can do with Universe, and how do you call it, stacking the effects with the Universe effects. So you kind of like use the transitions with the text and with some effects to make it how do you call it, to make it less obvious, so to say. And the next one is that we are still in the same editing page. So what we can do is that, like, another case to use like transitions and universe effects is that, like, for example, if I have like this video of a car doing burnout and then suddenly going into like this racetrack, and then a close up of the burnout, and in between I just want to add this logo on top of that, so it will look like something like this. Let me just play the video. So a burnout and transitions and some motion graphics with the text there, and then after that, the logo. And that is very easy to do with a, how do you call it, with a Universe tools. So if I disable, how do you call it, the second video layer on top of it, I think you can already see that I have Universe color stripe transitions going on there, right? So again, like before, if you go to Open Effects, Transitions, you'll be able to see a lot of transitions that you can use. And in this case, I just use the color stripe, this one, color stripe. And it just like drag and drop it. And on top of the color stripe, I add my logo. So at the moment, it doesn't look like much, but that's just because our logo is occupying the screen. So what we can do, we can probably trim the logo or resize it. So I don't want like this 4 dots. So I can just like crop my top and crop the bottom, just like that, right? So we have like this black logo on top of that, but it doesn't look much, Max. So next, we can play around with a blending mode. It's just a JPEG, by the way, guys. It's just a JPEG of logo. And courtesy of Vectasy, by the way. I downloaded from the internet, from Vectasy. And what I want to do is that probably we can change the blending mode, because we know that there is a black background. If we change it to screen, we probably have like a clear background, right? So, but now, as you can see, we can really see the background. And by changing the opacity here, you cannot really get much control, right? So let me just put it back to normal. And what I want to show you is that you can use an effects in Universe to just remove black background, similar to like changing the composite mode or blending mode to screen. And the tool is called Unmult. So let me just use this Unmult tool. And by default, you can really see that it is doing exactly the same thing. And we still have the same, like this thin line over here. So what I can do is that I can play around with the tolerance amount, and it's gone. Just sliding the amount of the tolerance, right? So perhaps the tolerance are around 31. So before, after. And now, if we scrub our playhead, you see that we have like color stripe going on, and then after that we have our logo. But this is not the color that I want, right? We can tweak that. We can do better than this. So what we can do is that perhaps we can use the brand color of this logo, of this, probably it's a brand or a company brand or something like this. And we can use the color of the logo to change our transitions. And that is very easy. So if we go to our transitions, color stripe, and here you can change your, by the way, you can change your color using color scheme. So for example, triadic. So you just define one color here, and then it will just fill in the other color. So for example, the complementary or split complementary, right? So the choice is yours. But what I want to do is that I'll set it to custom, and I want to select the logo color. So to do that, in this custom colors drop down, right, we have like this 2 other color patch. So what I want to do here, maybe just change it to red, or I can also sample this red over here, but let's just use it, something like that. And if I want to use the third color, I can, but I feel like if I'm adding another color, it will be like too colorful. So it's just like this and that, right? So now our color stripe has like the same color as our logo, but it feels like our logo is super boring. It's doing nothing. It's just like pop up and pop back out. So we can try to animate our logo using transitions. And before, I think you see that there are plenty of transitions that we can use. Like for example, if we put like this Rubik cube We can have like this effects, just like that right away. So we don't have to do much. But I want to show you, I think it's called the blind. Where is it? There you go, Universe Blinds. And what Universe Blinds is, it's like giving like this blind effects to your logo. As you move forward, it's it has the animations, like it's getting bigger and it is getting smaller again at the end, right? And now what I want to do is that, because we're moving to the next clip here, I want to probably stretch it to the right. And to do that, we can just use the same stretch transitions like before to stretch our image. So, and here I want the direction to the right. So we can have like this effects right away. And it goes something like that. Right. So it's very easy. So instead of me breaking down everything, I think we only have 15 minutes left. Let me just use the pre-made one and just show you. Oh, Greg have to run. Thank you, Greg, for coming. Thank you so much. Let me just show the pre-made effects. Where was it? No, not this one. I think the 3A. There you go. So as you can see here, we have this transitions happening, the one that we saw before. And here in second clip, we have the other effects going on to our video. And I'm not using any tracking. I'm not doing any animations. Everything is already come pre-animated. And that is just by using camera shake to make the footage a little bit shaky. And I'm using HUD Components and screen text. So what is HUD Components? So if we go to our effects and type in HUD Components and drag it to our footage, you'll see that it's giving you like this heads-up display component. And what's nice is that, again, like before, the presets, it's plenty of them. And you can choose like all the different presets that you want. And by the way, if you want to, you don't have to just use one HUD components to add your effects. You can use plenty of it. But what I want to do here, I just want to like highlight the car using like this type of like look, shape, by the way. And I can just change the blending mode to screen. Right. Now I can just reposition this using the element transform, and I can change the position so that it will be just right on top of the car. If I delete this, if you see that this video, the car is not moving much. So that's a plus. That's really nice. So the car is just sitting right there. So we can actually just use our HUD components. And by default, it is like already like highlighting our cars. Add a little bit of camera shake. And I think I use a presets called car mount, this one, to just add a little bit of shakiness to our camera. And on top of that, I add universe screen text. And screen text is also something that is really cool. Here, if I'm just drag and dropping screen text, by default, it is giving you like this hacker type of looking text. And you can select a presets. There are plenty of presets, like for example here, the install log. And you can change the scroll offset so you can have more text. And perhaps you can change the justifications if it's left or right. And like before, you just need to change the blending mode, right? So we can change it to screen. What I did is that instead of using one of the presets, I think I just used some random text from the internet about engine specifications and hit edit text and copy and paste the text there, right? And I got like this random engine specification text. And that is, okay, if we open edit text, you can really see that, Doesn't make any sense really, but it looks cool. So here I changed the color of the font color into green to make it looks like a little bit matrixy, and the cursor, I can change the cursor color to yellow so it looks like that. And then the next one, I use like the turbulence transitions from Universe, again like before. Just drag and drop turbulence transitions, so it's just like fading one clip to the other, just like that. And last but not least, I have the same effects like before, so I'm just putting the logo and then cropping it and then adding like this soft edge wipe transitions on top of that to create this. So that's how you can play around stacking effects in Universe to create such a quick and easy effects, right? So far, is there any questions before we move on to the next one? Okay, all good, looking good. So the next things that I want to talk about is Fusion page, right? Sometimes whenever you are stacking like effects here in the edit page or in the color page, it's not sufficient. You need extra control, and sometimes it requires you to move to fusions, by the way. By the way, quick tips. Like this transitions, you probably will see it a lot in a sporting event. Like, for example, if you watch basketball event or football event, anytime they have replay, like slow-mo replay, when somebody hit score a goal or something, you probably see this. And you see like the logo animated in the middle, and then you have like the transitions that is using the color of the logo, by the way. So yeah. All right. So now let's move into the final tips. That is to use Universe tools inside Fusions. So for example, right? What I want to show you is that I want to show you how to create something that looks like this. So we will create a title sequence that looks like this. Right? So we have like a very nice, how do you call it? Look, how do you call it? Composition, sorry. So we can create a very small and simple light compositions to create some fun title design, because that sometimes can also happen. I can also show you how to do a sky replacement, but sometimes, sky replacement, there are plenty of tips out there. And what about screen replacements? Maybe we want to stitch something onto the TV and create a nice title of our project. You can do that with Universe. Before we go into the detail of this, I want to show you, if you don't have any timeline and you just want to create a Fusion compositions and work within a Fusion compositions, you can create a Fusion compositions in your edit page, and in your media pool, you can right click and select new Fusion compositions. You can change the settings here, and you can just create it and drag and drop it to your timeline. And if you move to Fusions, you have a new Fusion compositions. At the moment, it does nothing. Your screen is blank. You only have media out, right? So what you need to do is that you just need to select all the media that you want to use into the node editor. So let me just delete this and go back to our first compositions. So if we go to Fusions, you'll see that I'm using this media. So if I press, so before we move on, I think it is nice to talk about the basic of Fusions, right? So what you need to understand before in Fusions, like what you see is that we have like this media out. Or let me just use the new composition. Sorry for jumping back and forth, guys. All right, so to see your image, like to pass your compositions to another page in Resolve within either edit page or how do you call it, color page, or if you want to render out, you need a media out. And by default, it is giving you the media out. And if you want to, you can always drag and drop like your media from your media pool, and then you can pipe in the output of your media into the media out. So if you don't know, oh Max, where is the output, where is the input? The tips is this. So if you hover over your node, you'll be able to see the informations here on the left side. So let me just disable my camera real quick. So if you hover over a node, you'll be able to see the details onto the on the left, how do you call it, lower left of the screen. So if you hover over it, hover over like this blue arrow, you'll see that, oh, this is the input for effects. And then if you hover over the rectangle, that is the output. So what you need to do is just click that output and then patch it onto the yellow input of the media out. So if you hover over the yellow arrow, it says media out dot input. So this is the input for the media out, right? It's just as simple as that. I think to understand Fusions better is that, like to understand Node in general, I like to think it as a signal processing, right? Is anybody here playing guitar, by the way? I think if you're playing guitar, you're probably well aware that in guitar, you probably have like this pedal. Let me just bring my camera. If you're playing guitar, you're probably very familiar with a pedal board, right? So if you put like distortions after phasers, or if you put phasers after distortions, you'll get a different sounds, right? And to get that sounds out from your guitar, you need to plug it into an amp, right? And the way I like to see Fusions is just like my signal chain on my pedal board. So think of the media out as your guitar amp. If you want to hear your guitar playing loud and clear with all the effects, you need to patch your media in, or your guitar into the media out. So just like that. All right. But if you want to preview, just preview any node here. So for example, if I just want to preview my media one, if you hover over all the nodes, you can see that there are two dots under there. By default, Fusion have like two different viewers. So if you click the dots on the left, it will bring the image to the left. And if you click the dot to the right, it will bring the image to the right, right? But if you if you're doing this, bear in mind that you're just previewing your image. You're not actually putting it out to the media out, right? So if you want to render it out, you need to patch it to the media out. And the shortcut for previewing your image is that if you want to preview it in a left viewer, press 1. Press 1 again to disable it. If you want to preview it on the right-hand monitor, you can press 2 and press 2 again to disable it. So at the moment, let's work with a screen number 2, and I'm just selecting this button here to make it like a singular, like one screen only. And here I will just monitor my media out. So that's my media out. Let's bring again to screen. I want to bring this media, this doc, how do you call it? Footage, and I want to patch it onto my media in number 1. So I want to put like this image on top of my TV here, right? And what's nice with a node-based compositing like Fusion's here is that you don't have to stack everything in the main line. How do you call it? The main signal processing here to preview your effects. What you can also do is that you can preview them individually. Once you're satisfied, you can patch it to the main signal. So what I want to do is that, let's just go back again. Let's take care of this image. And I want to wrap it onto a TV screen, right? So I need to transform it. And to transform that in Universe, there's like this effect that is only doing that. It's like, you can get a TV screen instantly. And if I press Shift and Spacebar, I will have like my tool window. So let me just let me search for Universe Analog. And here, if I press Analog and press Add, it will be added right away after my Media 2, after my dog clip. But at the moment, I am previewing my dog video here. I want to preview my analog. So I press 2 under my analog. There you go. So what analog does, it is like transforming your clips into like this TV screen. And what's nice even there is that it is working in 3D space. So you can change the transformation. So for example, you can rotate it in X, you can rotate it in Y, and you can rotate it in Z axis. So it's really, depends on how you like it. And in this case, I want to preview my media in the left monitor. And perhaps with my analog effects, I can just try to, rotate it to my liking so that I match the rotations. So I kind of already do that. I cheated a little bit, right? So I'll just delete this. I kind of already do that. And I can just patch into my analog effects here. And as you see, I rotate the effects. And then after that, making it relocate it into this coordinates. And after that, I want to merge this result onto this TV screen, right? So in order to do that, in order to merge your effects to the main signal processing to media out, you need a merge node. And that can be easily, how do you call it? Where is it? Here. It can easily be generated by using like this merge node here. But you can also press Shift and Space, and you'll get like this tool window. And if you just like type in merge, you can get a merge node. In this case, I already have a merge node. I want to pipe it into my main signal. So if I highlighting my media out just by selecting my media out and pressing 2, and let's disable left monitor. I have this media out, and I want to merge my merge node. And if I press Shift while dragging my node onto the line, it will just merge. It will just like, how do you call it? Combine. So now what I can do is that I can go into my analog output, and then I just put it into the merge node. And as you can see here, it's not correct because the screen is a little bit bigger than the TV. And what's nice here is that the TV stays in place. So there is no need for us to track the locations, the movement of the camera, because the TV is static. That is a great win. So we don't need to use a tracker or something like that. What we can do is that we can just simply try to, how do you call it? We can try to mask it out using a polygon mask. And we can do that just by using this. Click polygon. And then now what we can do, it can patch the polygon mask onto the effect input of merge number 1, right? So here, what we can do is that we can draw a mask around the TV. So I'll go to my polygon and just draw a mask on this screen, right? Something like that. Perhaps like that. There. And of course, you can like refine this. At the moment, doesn't look like much, but you can refine it to your, how do you call it, to make it more suitable. And I can select one, each of this point, and I can change the axis. So bear in mind that if I'm selecting like this axis, normally it just like select like all those axes. But if you just want to select one handle here, you can press Command, and then you'll be able to just change the just one handle at a time, right? So something like that. Reposition this, something like this. And you can always make it like a exact to how you like it. In that case, I actually already cheat a little bit and prepare the polygon mask before. And I can take the output of polygon mask and feed it into the effect input of my merge 1. And there you go. I have it instantly. Okay. So before, what I want to point out is that if I disable my merge, what I want to point out that this clip is a little bit special because, as we drag and drop, you see, as we drag our cursor, you see, we have like this line going on our TV, right? And this line is generating these reflections on the sides of the TV. Okay. And that's probably like if you're just putting another image on top of that, you won't be able to get rid of it will be complicated to get rid of this moving reflections. But what I did is that I simulate that lines within Analog. So in Analog, there is like this line effects. So it is this line. So if I want to change the line thickness, what am I previewing here? Okay, something like this. Okay, hang on. Was it this? Or was it the scan lines? No, this is not the scan lines. The scan line is the fine lines over here. But that's like, that's how I generate the lines for this footage, just by using like this line controls over here. I don't know why it's not responding at the moment. Yeah, that's another trick so that you can kind of like match this moving reflections on your TV, right? And next one is I want to add text on top of it. Maybe add a text that is called dog party. Why not? And what I did here is that I'm just using Text Plus inside Fusions. So if I press my Shift and Space bar and select Add on Text Plus, Command Z. So make sure you're not selecting anything to add new tools so that it is not patched directly to the node that you are selecting. So here I want to add Text Plus. Why Text Plus? Because in Text Plus, let me just preview this. In Text Plus, there's like this custom shading options. So for example, here, what I did is that I used like this red outline. I just enable it. Okay. So what I did with the text is that I sampled the color of the background and then enable the red line of the text. So what I did here is that the text is feeded into chromatic aberrations, universe chromatic aberrations. And by default, universe chromatic aberrations is giving you like this chromatic aberrations to your text. And it is also adding a distortion to your text, which is very nice, right? So before and after. And to add chromatic aberrations, what you can do is that select the text number 1, press Shift and space bar and type in chromatic aberrations, it will be like added up directly under your text. And from the chromatic aberrations, I add universe glow. And if we preview the universe glow, you can already see like, we have like this very nice glow, and you can change if the glow is only happening in the luminance channel of the image, or if it's only happening in the blue channel, for example, or if it's only glowing in the green channel, or it's only happening in the alpha. But what I did here, the effect that I want to, I just used the RGB and A channel. And default setup, I just changed the intensity slightly. And then from the glow, I pipe it into LogoMotions. And LogoMotions is another effect that is really cool. So what LogoMotion does is that if you have anything like text or images that you put onto your notes, be it in the color page, be it in editing page or in Fusions, it just take your image or your text and animate it. So you can select all of this, like any of this like presets. So you can have like this blurring from the side, or enter from the bottom and exit to the top, something like that. And I think what I did here is just like I select one of this preset. I think enter left and exit right. That's what I did. And now I just want to merge everything, the effects that I want to do, that I've done, into the main signal. And I can just do that using the merge node. And if we see our merge, our like, how do you call it? Final effects is that I have this text moving from the left to the right, to the frame, and then it is exiting to the right. Right? Come on, exit. So it even have like, oh, so apparently it is not exiting, it's just staying there. That's also fine. By default, it is also adding like this wiggle animations to your text, and that is just by default. I didn't change anything in LogoMotions. Yeah. Next one, if you go directly to the, how do you call it, to the edit page, it feels like a little bit dark. But what you can do is that you can go to the color page and start adding look on top of that. I think I already prepared something. Dog party, something like this. You know what you can, what I did there is that I just add some glow in the color page using Magic Bullet looks. So in the editing page, it just looked like that. In Fusions, oh, I don't know what is happening there. Okay, it seems like it's just processing. Yeah, something like this. Oh, there you go. I think I see the line now. I think this is the line that I didn't see before. So if I change the line thickness, you can really see that. Yes, that's the line. So that was it. I used the line thickness and line speed to the top, like 2000, and changed the line brightness. And that will be matching to the, I match it to the, how do you call it? To the amount of the moving reflections on the TV. So what I did in the edit page, in the color page, it's just by simply adding another presets to our compositing. So what I did is that I put Magic Bullet looks. I use Magic Bullet looks, and I think I use where's the fun presets, exciting something over somewhere over here. I think it's like orange glow with a twist, or no, magenta glow with a twist. And sorry, that was like the development presets. So I think in the excitement, it's called gleam magenta. Yeah, no, gleam scarlet intense. That's like the effects. But what I did there is that I add the exposure slightly. This is because I want it to be very simple. At the moment, I'm not color managed. My clip is in sRGB. Everything is in Rec 709, right? Or what I did here, I'm just using the 1D color handling from Magic Bullet Looks. So I'm going from sRGB and out back to sRGB. But what's nice is that Magic Bullet Looks working in its own color space defined by the input and output. So all these effects will look nicely, will calculate it like correctly when you define input and output correctly. So in this case, it's just sRGB and it's just outputting back onto sRGB. And that's why I'm adding the exposure within the color space inside Magic Bullet Looks, the proprietary, working space of Magic Bullet Looks. So I'm not adding my exposure outside of Looks because I will have to, transform to another log space, add up my, doing my correction there, and then going back to sRGB and then putting looks. I mean, it's really depends. If you want to go like the super controlled way, you can also do that. But I just want it to be quick, so I'll just add half stop of exposure to my image really quickly. So without the look, with the look. So it adds this glow effect like very nicely. And this glow effect, there's no like glow tool happenings here in looks. If we go to tools, there's no such tools called glow tools. What I did is that I'm using the optical diffusion tools because it is the same engine like the optical glow that you find in After Effects. So I'm just using the optical diffusions. And this is, by the way, included in the preset. So this optical diffusions is actually recognizing your highlights and make it glow. And then the presets also pair it with the halations. So you can really see that. But this halation tool is not actually creating like a halations, like accurate halations for film emulations. No, it is creating like this glow. So you can use tools that is not like, you can break the rules in using all of these tools. You don't have to stick with the rules like, optical diffusions, I just add a little bit of diffusion. No, go extreme and create this glow with optical diffusions. You can do that. And this is like a physically accurate because it was developed respecting the rendering, the physically based rendering methodology or rules called the energy conservations, right? So it's not changing the amount of exposure, the amount of the light inside your footage. So if I confirm it, you can really see that before the looks and after the looks. So once again, the final video will look something like that. Even the line, if you see, even the line on the TV is also like affected by the optical diffusions from our Magic Bullet looks, right? So it even sells you this, this effect that the glow, the reflections on the TV side, it is actually coming from this scan line, or not the scan line, from the moving lines, from the effects that you get from analog. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you guys learned something today. And like before, if you have any questions to me or anything grading related or universe related, or you just want to stay in touch, you can always email me, and I can be reached out at maxoncolor@maxon.net. So if you have any questions, make sure you write me an email there. Okay. And again, let me point you out to this. You know that this recording, this webinar is recorded, and you can rewatch the recording in YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and type in Maxon Training Teams, you'll be able to watch the recording of the sessions, and there will be timestamps. So you can just like skip to the to the topic that you really want to learn or knows. All right. Make sure that you check out the tools inside Universe. Okay. There are plenty of tools that I haven't shown you today. There are plenty of tools, and it is really fun to play around with these tools. And you can download the trial if you want to, or if you're a student. By the way, guys, if you're a student, you can get Maxon One tools for like crazy low amount of money, right? So if you go to buy and schools, student and teachers, you see that you can get all the Maxon One tools, everything of them with very low price. So you can learn how to use Maxon One to incorporate the tools into your workflow. Okay, and again, like before, if you are new to the website, if you're new to the webinars, and you haven't get a T-shirt, please get one. And you can get that by using the link in the chat. And just use the code for today is, and to enter the shop, by the way. Sorry, to enter the shop, you need to use a code. And the code for today is Maxon Simulation, all capitals, right? And you can get one of this T-shirt for free. You just need to pay for a small shipping cost to your home. And if you want to watch the upcoming webinars, by the way, we have the whole simulation week, simulation month even, happening every Monday at Maxon channel. And you'll be able to learn about simulations within Cinema 4D. So make sure you tune in into that and learn more about that by visiting maxon.net/events. And yeah, I think we come to the end of our session today, and I'm very happy that you guys are staying until the end. Thank you so much for showing up today, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks' time. And until then, I wish you a very nice day, a very nice evening, or a very nice morning, wherever you are. Have fun, play around with the tools, and anytime you have questions, please reach out to me. And this is Max from Maxon and Max Off. Thank you so much.